Hey there, Silver Tongue Devil here, and in this video I'm hoping to be able to show you the best way to spend your time collecting as many legend points as we can get our greedy little mitts on to get all the nice shinies. Now, one of the things that I haven't gone through previously is what do the legend points actually get you? Well, I'll show you. So this is the bow that I use. This is Seer's Path. That's obtainable at legend level 6. This is the winged bow, which is attainable at legend level 3. The winged crossbow and the golden spine. Quickly show you those. Left-handed crossbow. What is this? Winged crossbow. My favourite. Kinky little finger in the skeleton's mouth there. Love it. Golden spine. You've also then got this one at level 5, which is a really nice shield. And the ornate shield, which should be attainable for most of you. And then you've got the different gloves. Those of you who were part of the community challenge should have the black ones unlocked by default, but you can get all these other nice ones. Anyway, let's get my things back on. There, and there. This one's also available at level 9. Now, I'm at level 8, and I've got, yeah, so that one, okay, although that was a community, if you get to level 9, you'll get it as well. So this is what we're going to be, or what I'm going to be looking at, hopefully, at the end of next season, getting some new shards. I might be one of the only ones that has them as well. So, right, on, what we're going to do during the vid. What I'm hoping to do today is show you guys, for those of you who haven't been during a... if you haven't been around during a season, or you're new to it, or if, like me, you haven't, your first season you didn't really have a clue, and ended up with sod all in the legend points category, that's what I'm hoping to show you guys off to today, because you've got a lot more ways right in front of you that you should be able to earn some legend points in quite easily. I'm hoping to show you some techniques in the various things that you can do to try and harvest those legend points as quickly as possible. I am also open to any and all questions whilst we're doing this as well, so make use of that. If I don't care if it's a stupid question or if you think it's been answered before, ask it, because you asking it is probably doing somebody else a favour that it can't be asked, too embarrassed, or what have you. So, the first thing, the easiest thing, I think, for you to get some legend points on the board is Fletcher. Now, the reason why I think Fletcher is the easiest is because I have what I think is a technique which is quite easy for getting a decent score that anybody can do. Even though Fletcher is a very frustrating mode and very hard, I hope I can show you a way to make it a little bit easier and a little bit more forgiving. Now, why are we looking at one of the hardest modes with a special technique? The reason being is because the bar is low. I mean, like, me and Atlas are at the top, and, like, he's got 800,000 on me for now. And because he was asking me how he was going to spend his weekend, and I haven't told him what I'm doing yet. So the scores for the top 10 are 1.5 million. Now, if you can get to cycle 5, you can get to the top 10. Simple as that. You just need to be a little bit crazy and cautious. But whether you can get to cycle 5 or not, if you can get through cycle 1, you can make potentially top 50. How? Here's how. First things first, as I've said before, get Unusual Fortitude on. Gives you an additional health if you've got access to these amulets. If not, it's only 1 extra health. It isn't going to make a massive odds. And basically, I'm going to show you some Orphan Annihilation, because I've been working on some more techniques to try and make this easier for myself, but also easier for you guys. So what are we going to do here? Fletcher is the mode where if we miss we get random arrows, and if we miss a shot, we take damage. So, hello, Ray. So what we're going to do is we are going to mitigate our life loss by going for high-profile targets. What were those high-profile targets? Those lovely little orphans, that's what. Now, the way that we're going to do this is there are 2 orphans that we want to be collecting from this level and Abyss, and then just the 1 orphan in Paradise Lost. Now, I'm going to hopefully show you some little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. Now, do not engage anything. Rooftop hop it. There are 2 things that we are looking for. I know I've showed this off in a stream, but I've got some extra things to show you. Now, there are 2 things that we are looking for. We are looking for the pit entrance. That can be in any section of Paradise Lost. Hello, Sean. That can be in any section of Purgatory. And the pit can also be in any section of Abyss. The orphan is always in the last section of Paradise Lost and Purgatory. It can be in either in Abyss, so Abyss can be a bit of a touchy one. So, first big tip that I'll give you is if you are far enough away from the portal, you can teleport in without having to deal with anything around it. And, as I've shown off before, where you teleport in from is where you teleport out. So what we want to do, remember that you get vibrational feedback when you are aiming at a valid landing location. So you want to start high and bring it down, because worst case scenario, you hit the battlements and you just jump back over here. But you should be able to estimate that shot. We hit the portal, we're now in. So the beauty of doing that is, as I said, we will return to where we came in. Now, even in my runs, this is where I try and budget to lose as little life as possible. You can take this as slowly, as carefully as you want, but this is where we need to get the orphan. That's the biggie. Now, take this as slowly as you can. You don't need to be rushing. I am, because I want to try and get some work done tonight, because I've obviously got a lot of things to show off. Multiple hits on ghosts. They, even if you don't hit the white, will freeze them in place. Be careful with your arrows, because obviously Fletcher. The things that we want to be listening out for is we want to be listening out for the orphan. That's basically it. That's the reason why we are here. So the orphans in this game are the big points hitters. They are worth a lot of points comparatively. They can be a reasonably easy kill if you know how to do it, which again, I can show you. And the whole point is, with Fletcher, we lose life, as I was saying earlier, we lose life when we... Oh, little bugger. Yes, they are. Oh, took a couple there. Yes, if you die in the middle of a Siege of Heaven, the score will count. You don't have to actually complete it. Hello, Von. Thought I heard you sneak in there. So, you'll see that we've already taken some damage because we've already missed some shots. That will happen, but you can actually get quite a lot of life back depending on how far you can get. Now, what we're going to look at doing here is we are going to try and cycle for a decent arrow. That'll do us. Hello, Dave. Now, this one, I think, is probably one of the best ones for what I'm about to do at the moment, which is an orphan assassination. Now, copious use of slow time. That is another way to do it. That is another way to do it, is start in Abyss and go from there. That's another way to play it, because there's not a massive difference between Cycle 1 and Cycle 2. So we can hear the laughter of the orphan, okay? We've cleared a little bit of the level out, and we've got what I think is a good arrow, because if you get very close to an orphan and hit it in the head with this, all of them will go in. Now, we might have to deal with some more, because I think she's up the top, which is going to put pave to our plans. Yes, she is. Okay. So let's deal with a little bit more. Hello there. The whole point of this technique is we want to be in and out as quickly as possible with as little fuss as possible. As soon as that exit opens, we are gone. Because we're not here for points. The longer, what I find, the longer you stick around in a level, the longer you stick around in a level, hello Al, the longer you stick around in a level, I find, the more chance you have, why'd you have to come now? The more chance you have of losing life. So, right, let's get this orphan sorted, because she's going. No. Orphan assassination right there. So we jump in. You can do that, and I do on the earlier cycles, right at the start of the level. Now, that does sound like quite a strange and silly prospect, but we can actually make advantage of the rule of 17, in that as we are hopping around the level, you can't have that many enemies around you. There are a lot of enemies in the pit, and the pit is fairly close. So what you find is as you are moving around the pit when it's full, and just going after that orphan, is that enemies will be constantly spawning and respawning as you are moving about. It is always best to try and secure a safe space. Again, note the copious amounts of slow time that I'm using here between every single shot, because this is how you keep the life loss down. And again, I know we've lost some life, but this is where you budget for the loss of life. And don't worry if you missed the orphan assassination thing, I'll go into a little bit more detail. Hello, Jesus. If the orphan is flying up, if the orphan is starting to rise as it was, get close to it. That will stop it in its tracks. You gotta love Divine Sight, haven't you? The other things to note with Fletcher as well is part of the reason why Divine Sight is probably the best and worst arrow is because, and Cupid's arguably, is misses with Cupid's and Divine Sights do not count towards your shot miss. So if you miss a shot with anything else, you will take 1 point of damage. If you miss a shot with any Divine Sight or any Cupids, it doesn't count. And this is one of the things that I'm finding is what makes it such a great arrow for orphan assassinations, because if you get close and plug them in the head, it puts all 5 arrows in, and that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage! So, the portal is open. We know this because we've got magical spunk coming out of us. The first thing that we want to do, grab the life, and then, yes, there's lots of enemies. Yes, these are points we are leaving lying around on the table, and fucking good riddance to them. We are out of here, because the things that are down there are really not worth that amount of points and not worth that amount of effort. This is the other reason why I like playing this way, because it can be it's fun, it's exhilarating, and it can be very throwaway as well. So if you die, it doesn't really matter. One of the other things that I find about playing this way is you will build up your familiarity with the levels, especially where the orphans are within those levels, because you'll be constantly coming across them. It's comparable to what some of us do when we are cycle skipping. Like when I'm cycle skipping, because I now skip up to cycle 10 in my main game. When I'm cycle skipping, I also take the orphans out, and that's because I know where they are and they're reasonably easy takes. Now, we're approaching the 3rd section of Paradise Lost. Yes, I did count that this time. Really good at counting in this mode. Now, what we want to do is we want a good arrow so that we can one-shot the orphan and get the fuck out of Dodge. And we'll do that by finding little alone enemies by themselves and body-shotting them. And we'll do this until we get a good arrow. Arrows of Needles is not that arrow, unfortunately. There would have been a time when it would have been. Incursion is not that arrow. Cupid's Wrath is not that arrow. That's not bad, because although they won't stick in, we can't miss with this, and it does quite a lot of damage. So we'll try this one. And we are literally, now again, through playing over and over again, even if, you know, you can't score that well on this, this will give you a great idea of where the orphans are in each configuration and every level, and it will help you get better at dealing with them. Yes, I know we're assassinating them, but this is the way we do it. So I know she's there. I drop down on her. I usually put that into the ground. That wasn't great. This wasn't a great arrow. 2 seconds, Norb. Whilst I'm just dealing with her. There we go. And then as soon as that would have been a much better arrow. So, note to self, Cupid's 3 isn't that good. I've used it before because it does a lot of damage and there's no chance of me missing. And I am literally out. I'm done. I'm gone. Kill the orphan. Gone. Now, why am I playing this way? The reason being is because it's easy to miss. And you can get some absolutely garbage arrows. And so what I try and do is maximize my life to points potential. And the way I do that is I go after high value targets. Right, 2 seconds. I'll just see what Norb said. No, not third. Did I say third? Sorry. Last area of Purgatory and Paradise Lost is what I meant. You knew what I meant, Norb. Yeah, the last area of Paradise Lost and Purgatory will always contain the orphan. In Purgatory, the pit can be in any of the 3 zones, and it can be in any of the 3 zones, and in Abyss it can be in either of the zones as well. The orphan can be in either area 1 or area 2. As far as Desolation is concerned, like Bruno, we don't talk about Desolation. So, how Anakim? Is Anakim quite an easy take with Fletcher? I'd say yes. You can spend some time doing what I did and cycling for the perfect arrow, but this is only cycle 1. The way that I like to deal with him on cycle 1 is simply this. Sit on here, wait for him to start turning, slow time shot, slow time shot, slow time shot, slow time shot, and keep on doing this. If you can't do the slow time thing, it doesn't matter. Oh, he's going. He's going. Oh, wow, that looked like it hurt. Slow timing between each shot. Yes, I was a bit lucky in that I got a Hand of God there. Even if you take 1 hit from his aura, it's not the end of the world because we've got health coming here. The only thing that you could do is take a step back. The reason why I stay that close is because we should be able to down him. It's just like a Cataclysm bam. If you can hit him with the various arrows in the head whilst he's taking all that damage, you will stagger him. By being here, you block off the peripheries and targets that the monks can teleport into. The 2 will spawn in those little cubby holes. The rest of them will spawn all the way across the back of the level. But as I found out, ones that spawn behind you will not shoot you in the back. If you turn and look at them, they will. So you can sit up here and just blast him, just like the old days when we all used to do it with Cataclysm. Now, part of the reason why I decided that this tactic is a good tactic is because of this level, and I hate it. So, but one of the things I do know that I can do, cheers, thank you for dropping in, K2. One of the things that I do know correct. Yeah. Thing is, we're not playing for cycle 2, 3, or 4. The further you can go with this tactic, then obviously the further up the leaderboard you will finish. But we are looking at getting past through cycle 1. Because I don't think there is anyone watching here that cannot complete cycle 1. And if you are careful, you have a much better chance of being able to get through Cycle 1's bosses, which are kind of the hard part other than the pits, because of all this power that you have in the bow. Now, Winter's Bite 3 isn't a bad one at this cycle. Not one of my favourites, but you will get to do 2 shots on her with it. Now, this is probably the hardest part, because we've got to find the little bugger. And because there's such a dense area of enemies around here, there are times when she will not spawn, so you might have to kill a bit before she comes in. But we're going to have a look around now. Oh, I hear her. Where was that? That was over there. Now, I know where most of her spawning points are, he says. Oh, is that above? Or is that below? You'll see it very soon, Oliver, and welcome to the stream. I think that's below. Let's go and check. Again, doesn't really matter too much, but we don't want to be giving those away. Are you between levels? Yes, you are. Well, that makes our job a bit easier. So, as I said, this one is the worst one for getting the orphan. This is the one that I am quite happy to give up on. But if you are only planning on going through one cycle, she's at the end. If you're only planning on going through one cycle and dead, then you kind of need to get her. But one thing that would be acceptable, if you get through a couple of cycles, skip the orphan in Paradise Lost, because it's probably one of the hardest orphans to get. Who was that? Hello, Carol. Front and centre, just like I asked. So, Gabriel should not be a tough prospect if we are patient with this technique. Now, what I'm hoping to show off here is how quickly I can do it, and I'm rushing. If you take your time on this, which you can, because we're going to cover that rooftop hopping and judicious amounts of slow time. This is also really good training for other things as well, like slow time. So, as we should all be aware of, I think, push him off the edge, block him with the pillar, give him the gaze, give him the real estate to fly into. If he fireballs, we have to retreat, pop your shield up so that you don't get hit by any stray fireballs. Keep at the pillar to which one of your two sides and look to white space. He will move to that space. Right, he's going to dive down. We're going to use our slow time. Be careful and check. Ooh, left that a bit late. What arrow is coming next? Cupid's Wrath, we can just let them round the corner. Divine Sight, same as well. They will always hit, and even if they didn't, we won't take any damage from it. We come back out again. Anything, when he starts getting to that range, stop firing. Hand of God is great. As soon as he does his first strike, and it's past, Hand of God, we should be able to finish him up from here. No, again, I am slow timing after every single shot. If Siege of Heaven doesn't look like a good prospect for you to learn slow time, then doing this way will. What the fuck? It's a new grip that I haven't heard of before. Must be. So, now, one of the things with this, how efficient are we being with our scoring if there's life being left on the table? Believe you me, just leave it. The amount of times that I have asked myself that same question whilst I've been chasing score with Fletcher in this mode is ridiculous. And I keep on admonishing myself to go, no, stop killing enemies. The reason why we're doing it this way and going after the high value targets, remember the orphans are worth 25k. In the pits, they're worth 63,500. And that's without hitting them in the head. A monk, for a headshot at close range, which you want to be doing, is worth 300 points. Now, is that good value for money on the chance that you might miss? I don't think so. Now, again, no, I am using slow time. I am tapping slow time as I travel, and then I am holding it just after I land to ensure that I am in slow time when I land. As we talked about on one of my other streams, if you fire the teleport arrow, that's a bit long. If you fire the teleport arrow and hold slow time, when you land, it will take you out of slow time, so you need to reapply it. Again, we are going to use my world-famous technique of getting into the portal from a distance. Find a nice vantage point. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, but you can even see how I faded back off of the edge with the movement stick, which means that I am going to be reasonably safe when we come back. Now, Abyss can be a bit of a prick. Thankfully, we had that arrow. That was a nice arrow to start proceedings with. What we are doing here is I am, cycling. I am looking for, hopefully, a decent arrow to take out the orphan, because that's what we're here for. Problem is, we might just have to make do. Now, Divine Sight 5, that is lovely. Now, this is the part where I would possibly advise you take a look at your life and assess the situation. What I'm going to do is, I've got the perfect arrow for this, and I'm happy in my slow time abilities. So I'm going to go down there, I'm going to assassinate her, and then I'm going to run. Because that's what I do. Know where she is. She's in the worst place going. Slow timing all the way. Get nice and close. Miss. Shit. Oh, well, we still got her. And then, yeah, we might take a hit or two on the way out. We're going to go all the way back up to the top. No slow time here because we are travelling. Get round this corner and we'll let everything come to us. Now, the other thing that happens here is because we've just bounced away from a lot of enemies and there was a lot of enemies down there, a lot of them are going to despawn, so they're not actually going to come up after us, which is great. And on a life front, we're actually doing pretty well. These boys can have some headshots. Again, even each one of those headshots is only worth 600 points. So, and the reason why I'm doing these shots is because I have to kill enough enemies to light up or to unstone the incubi, and then once we've killed the incubi, we're gone. We just leave. Simple as that. That was lucky. Good old Divine Sight. Now, this is the only problem with this strategy is Agony is normally awesome, but for this mode, I hate it. It's the one that I don't want to see because we're not here for resources. You can't collect resources other than life. We are here to get in and get out again. Once you've alerted some enemies visually, you can usually sit on this pillar, copious amounts of slow time, check your peripheries and check your surroundings. As soon as you hear them coming in, hold slow time, see where they are, fire the shot off. Yes, you will get garbage arrows like Holy Light, Incursion, Cataclysm. They are not ideal for dealing with Cupids. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, you can hear that the incubi has been alerted, is alive because we have killed enough things. We are literally going to sit here until he teleports. We can hear him casting and doing his shout. I find coming here and looking that way is the best way to get him to teleport to us. And it's time for my smoke break because he's... I knew it. As soon as I say it's time for my smoke break, I guarantee you he's going to teleport. Again, you use your slow time at this point. Once he is in... Once he is in place, we want to leather him. Now, he's getting further back away. I would come up here. And he will probably teleport again. We haven't done so well with him there. Where's he gone? Oh, we might have teleported out the level. He does that sometimes, which is kind of annoying, but he will be back. What did we say about the shield ray? Is a shield hit... no, a shield hit is not a miss. You could shield bash Cupids if you really wanted to, but you probably risk yourself more trying to shield bash enemies than you would just trying to shoot the arrow at them. Now, I've only had the incubi do this a couple of times. Normally, he teleports back into the level. We do kind of need him because without him dying, the level will not complete. So let's pretend for a second that he's dead. I'll deal with him if he comes back. The next thing that we need to go do to get out of this level, because normally you just play the level... I'll give him a 9. Normally you just play the level normally if it was despair. For this, we need to take that guy out. And that's it. Wait for that circle. Oh, sorry, hitting the night shield is a hit. Got you. Yeah, you can, if you got to be careful, but you can cycle your arrows on a night shield. And now look who's back, and now he's dead. Killing that incubi, so killing enough of the enemies on the way down changes him from his stone statue form to real form. Once he is in his real form and you kill him, the exit opens. As I said, don't be too keen to leave. Kill this guy. Wait for his hex to leave and then proceed. And again, any extra shots that we're taking here, it's just risk to our life. We want to be... Like, even that's a risk. I shouldn't really take that shot. I should grab this and go. Done. Because we've got what we want to out here, which is the orphan. Simple as that. Now, I don't think... I mean, obviously, you may lose more life than me on this. You may not be able to get as far as me on this. But if you can get through cycle 1, I would like to think that you will be happy with the results. Now, the next thing that we need is we haven't killed the orphan yet. And it can be in either cycle 1 or cycle 2. We've got the pit. I reckon she's going to be in cycle 2. But don't quote me on that, because there she is. Now, ideally, because I now know where she is, I'm going to run, let her despawn. I know that she's down there. Because I've got far enough away, she's despawned. And what we're going to do is we're going to find somewhere nice to cycle our arrows. This is not nice, but it'll have to do. Stop giving me garbage arrows. Perfect. Volley 5. The ultimate in orphan assassination technology. I like Volley 5 because it can kill... It can one-shot an orphan all the way up to cycle 6, I think. And even at like cycle 6 and cycle beyond that, you only need a little touch and she's dead. Now, she should be right there, so that's where we're going to aim for. As we teleport in, she should do dead. With the crossbow, this is even easier because you do even more damage up close with the crossbow. Obviously, you've got to be able to use it, though. And so, as far as Abyss is concerned, we will bid you adieu because we have the portal done, we have the pit done, we have the orphan done. Time for the boss. Lots of points, I know. Lots of points being left on the table, but not as many as you think. Give me an idea, chat. What would you, and obviously, you know, I would say an average would be about 500,000 for your first cycle. And if it was me, should be pushing 600 to 650 for the first cycle. I'd imagine some of you guys and girls will be, oh, you must be in that region, must be in the 400,000 region if you can complete the first cycle. Because just doing the 2 pits, the orphans, and the bosses... Well, we'll see what that gives us in just a moment. But yeah, I would wager that anybody who is capable of doing a cycle will be hitting at least 350,000 to 400,000 if you're taking the pits out and if you nab all the orphans. And there is method to my madness as to why I'm asking these questions, because we're going to check my score at the end of all of this. So, just to round up what we've done in Fletcher here, we have killed the orphan in Purgatory. We've gone into the pit, killed the orphan in the pit. We have then exited stage left that pit as soon as the exit is open. Remember, that is 88% of the enemies in that pit to escape. We have gone to Anakim, blasted him down, which I think, as the way that I showed it, even if you take a ding or two on the way in and out, it's still a reasonably easy... That's a good teleport. Still a reasonably easy kill with Fletcher. Again, slow timing between each hit is the key. We have taken the Orphan out in Paradise Lost. We have taken the Orphan out in the Abyss. We have taken the Orphan out in the Pit in the Abyss. So, at this point now, where do you think we would rank in the world as far as points is concerned? I can tell you we'd almost be in the top 100. So how would I deal with this guy? I would basically cycle arrows into him until I get Cataclysm, which was actually really lucky. If you get Divine Sight or Cupid's Wrath at this point, fire it into the ground, because hitting Asmo with Divine Sight or Cupid's Wrath, what happens is, if you do what I'm going to do in just a moment and pop a load of skulls, if you did that with a Cupid's Wrath or Divine Sight, God, that's a lot of skulls, isn't it? Beautiful. If I did that with a Cupid's Wrath or a Divine Sight, the Cupid's Wrath and the Divine Sight will actually hit those skulls as they are coming in behind you. That blows them up, that damages you. So, that one, you can do a Cupid's... Oh, little bastard. You can do a Cupid's... a Cataclysm 3 or a Cataclysm 5. Cut it across his body. It'll destroy, more often than not, everything but one. And then we just need to take out the last one. If you get a Hand of God, a groin shot... Oh, you got me again. A groin... Because I slow-timed him and it doesn't go slow. A groin shot will put him into slow motion with a Hand of God. Winter's Bite. Yeah, let's have a shot. No. Now, remember what I said about Cupid's Wrath? That was rubbish. That was rubbish. Now, pay attention when he is slow-timed. He still throws his rocks at full speed. Again, we could run... I'm going to try and make this a bit quick. Divine Sight 1's fine. Because I'm not playing for arrows here or anything along those lines. Again, copious amounts of slow time whilst moving between these things. Sit here because it puts you nice and close to all of the enemies. The only one that then becomes a threat is the ones that spawn over there, and you can just close the distance. This is the hard part. I like to get right underneath these guys to at least try and take one or two out. If you're lucky enough to get a Divine Sight, well, job's done. Get round behind this corner. We've got Divine Sight, we know where the enemies are, we'll just let it do the job. Peek. Fire what arrows you have at the enemies there. You don't need to close in here, but keeping that distance short will stop you taking dings from missed arrows. Got a little bit of horizontal action there for you. And now it's just a case of tidying up. If you have effects at this point on the field, let them work before you fire any more shots at the enemies here. Because I guarantee you, the time you shoot will be the time that something that you put down will explode. Pestilence will finally kill that enemy. The curse will destroy the enemy. Or something will happen and it will cause you to take a ding. Now, the other thing that I would say as far as Incubi is concerned, yes, I'm going for headshots. Yes, you get a little bit more points. If you're not happy with that, or you've got shit arrows, go for body shots. LG's top in this mode, and he like almost exclusively goes for body shots. Now, I'm not showing you a strategy to get to the top. I'm showing you a strategy that I would like to think that you can complete in, even if you took your time, an hour and a half, tops, and potentially get into the top 100 in the world for this. Why are we getting there? That's easy legend points. That's what we want. So again, at this point, I would cycle my arrows until I get Divine Sight times something or Cupid's Wrath. That's what I want. And the reason being, it doesn't work quite as well as it used to. One will destroy the skull, the others should go up into the dorsal flange. Well, one of them did. And then it's just a case of using what shots you've got to get up there. If you're not confident with that range of shots, or you get some garbage arrows, cycle. Cycle on Asmo until you get the arrow that you want. Again, Hand of God, another good one here. Aim for the groin. He is now in slow time. Just be careful, because the rock is not. And again, and that's what we want. So we've cycled on his body. Each of those counts as a hit. If his shield is up, that is not a hit. You will take damage for that. And again, Cupid's Wrath. One should hit. One of them got him, the other one didn't. And then we've got a lovely little Hellfire to finish things off, maybe? No, Cupid's Wrath. Cataclysm it is. Now, I would imagine a lot of people wait for the platforms to come down. This is part of the reason why I don't. I always sit on this platform and turn, because these platforms at the top come down sooner than the intervening ones, which means that we can be up there before or just as the enemies spawn. So if we beat them to the punch, we can position ourselves to do a lot of damage. Now, this is where you have to be uber careful. And the reason being is because putting too many effect arrows down at this point could really fuck us up. Because you might end up killing all of the things that spawn in a minute by accident, as this is going to go. If you are unlucky enough to hit a curse, you've just got to roll with it. And by that, because that curse is going to spread no matter what I do now. So I might as well start getting arrows down to do more damage. Ow. Ow. And as I said, this does happen. There's not a lot that you can do about it other than just tidy up. But I would like to think that you'll get some decent arrows. Now, what arrow would be nice for us to have at this juncture? And how can we get it? Well, his shield's down, so we can cycle. Divine Sight 3 would do the job, because that'll kill those. Cupids, kill the rest of them. Keep cycling. Azure's will do a job, because it'll electrocute. Divine Sight 5 is perfect. Fire it up. Oh, it usually kills it. Again, cycle until you get another homing arrow. Missed. Don't cycle arrows like I was doing there. I'm just being a bit lazy. Cycle arrows into his body. You will still get the effects of them on other enemies, but it's a lot safer because he doesn't have as much head movement. And again, we get another 2 life. And on. Should we go to Desolation? Shall we fuck? And back to Purgatory, into Cycle 2. And repeat, and go as far as you can. Now, it is tempting, believe you me, to think, oh, there's points there, there's points to be had, we're missing out on points as we're going. Oh, I've got maximum health. I could, get some more points out of this by headshotting some enemies and doing some bits and pieces. Stop that train of thought. Don't. Stick to orphans, killing what's in the pit, killing the boss, killing the next orphan, doing the pit, killing the next boss, and so on, until you can't do it anymore. Every time you think, oh, I'll just go and kill an enemy, unless it is for cycling arrows to assassinate an orphan, just don't do it. Because what happens is you do that, and then you take a ding. And then that just compounds the problems later on down the road. Now, let's have a look at our score. I don't think there's anybody in the chat that plays this game that can't do what I just did. Yes, it might be a lot dirtier, and you might lose more life, but I would like to think that you can get through that first cycle. Copious amounts of slow time is the key. Now, what would 250,000, near as damn it, get us on the leaderboard? That would get you in the top 100. I would say that score, just doing it on cycle 1, would get you, well, at the moment, probably top 50. Do that for a couple of cycles, and you'll be hitting top 20. do that for 3 or 4 cycles, and then you're starting to approach top 10 territory. Simple as that, I guess. So Desolation, the problem with Desolation is I haven't been there enough to be able to tell you, if I'm honest, Ray. That's one of the things that we're going to look at testing in one of my testing episodes and see if Desolation actually harvests more points, because I've stayed out of there because it's a much harder prospect. I believe Orphans are always on the top level. Correct me, I'm quite happy for anyone to correct me on if I'm wrong. In fact, I'm sure I've seen Orphans on lower levels. And because the Orphan can be on the lower levels within Desolation, becomes a pain in the bottom. Yes, you should be up here. Because if you can do that for 4 cycles, you'll hit 1 million or somewhere like it. Yes, that is a pain in the ass. Again, the reason why I would always hit Purgatory is because there is no place like Purgatory, is there? Everybody knows Purgatory. It doesn't matter whether you've been playing 5 minutes or 5 years. You know Purgatory. Purgatory is your friend. It's a lot easier a level. I would hate to have to go after bats with Fletcher, and you might have to deal with them if they close in amongst you and you have to escape. Sometimes you have to do that. I would much be rather shooting an abomination or a monk than a fucking bat. Anyway, so where would the next easy lot of points be? Because I can continue this, but I've shown you this, and I think that that's quite an easy way to get points. The big things are, so closing notes on Fletcher: copious amounts of slow time, cycle arrows so that you can kill Orphans quickly, get right next to Orphans, full draw, and shoot. Copious amounts of slow time when you are doing anything within what I would call Orphan Annihilation or Orphan Assassination, whatever you want to call it. And don't deviate from the fucking plan, because I do it all the time, and it's part of the reason why I'm probably not at the top of the leaderboard. I think, I'll just go for a couple extra headshots. I'll just do this. I'll just do that. It never pays off. Now, if you want to be number 1 in the world, then you have to do what Cam's doing, and you have to do what Atlas is doing. And you headshot every single enemy, or you kill every single enemy, and you get your points where you can, and you get your headshots where you can. I find it makes an incredibly fun mode a bit boring. Or not boring. Boring's the wrong word. I prefer playing it like this. I have a lot of fun playing it this way, and it gets my heart rate up. And it is a great way to practice your slow time, learn Orphan locations, learn pit spawn locations. And the beauty of all of this as well, my finishing sentence on this is, a lot of the skills that you can learn in playing Fletcher this way are applicable to the main game. If you can get good at them here, they will only benefit you in the main game. Right. Next. Where are the next easy legend points? Well, believe it or not, it's runner. I can tell you now, if you haven't got a run going at the moment, you probably, the worst use of your time would be to start a run and try and get high. Starting a run and finishing a run, or rather starting a run, getting to a checkpoint and saving, because that will update your score on the leaderboard. But my advice would be finish the run, die, just so you don't confuse it with the next season's run. Finish starting a run and ending it. If you are great on the bow but shit on the crossbow, pick it up, get as far as you can, die, you'll at least get some legend points. This is the reason why I picked up the crossbow in the first place, because I did not know that. Nobody said about that, and this was when legend points were just coming in, and I got a garbage amount of legend points, and everyone else that I was playing with got loads because they did a little bit of everything. I have now become the little bit of everything. Well, I'm not going to say master, let's say connoisseur. So, on with the little bit of everything. So yeah, long story short, if you're great with the bow and shit with the crossbow, pick up the crossbow, just go and do a run. Get as far as you can, kill as much as you can. Hell, if you like what you've just seen, pick up the crossbow, copious amounts of slow time, do the orphan assassination thing. Get the right arrows and go as far as you can. You can put a very tidy score together very quickly without a lot of effort. Well, a bit of effort, but anyway. Next on the agenda then, as I said, we're going to look at runner. Now, why am I saying runner? Again, it is RNG, and a lot of the times that you will see here, I mean, there's some great times, don't get me wrong, but it's all low-hanging fruit, and when we haven't got a lot of time, this is what we want. And again, lots of transferable skills that you can pick up in runner mode that can be applied to the main game. I have always said, even before runner, and it's more to do with the tournament side of things, but I've always said that it is only going to be beneficial for you to be able to play slow and patient as well as fast and furious. If you have multiple gears within your game, then you've always got something to shift up to or come back down to. If you can only play slow, you will come a cropper when the unexpected happens. If you can only play fast, well, you won't get very far because you'll make mistakes and you'll die. Simple as that. You must have all gears. Or so I think. The only exception to that is probably LG. But, I mean, that's not like he moves like old people fuck. But let's have a look on runner. If I remember rightly, I saw LG on here somewhere. And he didn't have a bad score. No, he won't be on the crossbow. Where was he? There you go. Atlas Rise. The most patient motherfucker I know in this game is on the top board with 501. And Atlas Rise is a great player, but Atlas Rise is a great player because of his level of patience and his slow and methodical approach to the game. This man's got a fast game, though, tell you that. So, where would be the best place for us to get the best time? There are two obvious choices. Abyss is out. Hello, Dark Party. I keep saying Dark Party because that's how my chat... It's Vedat, isn't it? My chat always says Dark Party, but it's not that. But yeah, hello, Vedat. So... No, the sigils are here to stay, although from what I can gather, one of the sigils, and I think it's still up in the air, but it's probably going to be runner, my precious, precious runner. One of the sigils is going to be replaced. I think the info's out there. Mortal. Something to do... We don't know what it is yet, but I believe one of the sigils is going to be replaced with this mortal, because why would they call a vote to which sigil do you want to lose? And I think that's because of possible limitations in what they're able to do with the game. They might be running out of space. Anyway, so, good question for that. Keep them coming. So, what we're going to do next, we're going to look at runner. Abyss is right out. I had a little think about doing Abyss again today. And the reason why Abyss is a shit level for this is it's way too vertical, way too intricate. There's too many cubby holes and hidey holes for enemies hiding in for you to take them out fast and efficiently, even with special arrows. And the length of the jumps between one section and the other is so long. So, fuck Abyss. Desolation is like going to purgatory, but putting it in hard mode. Desolation again is not a good prospect. The big problem with Desolation for time-based things is the underground, because that's where most of the enemies are going, and there isn't really a great or efficient way that you can path down there. So that leaves us with two options. Those two options are Purgatory and Paradise Lost. You can get a sub 5-minute time in Purgatory. Paradise Lost is where you go if you are comfortable with the game. You should be able to get sub 5 minutes on Paradise Lost, providing you get the right arrows. Now, how do we prep? I won't even go into why, because life... Well, actually, no, I will go into why. Life in a timed run, you do not need to be concerned about. Spiritual Assist, I mean, you might have to use that, but you want to be fast here. Anakim's Floor, we're not fighting any bosses, don't need that. Wealth privileges, if you have to stop in the shop in a run, you are ruining your time. You need to be able to live off of the level or use vanilla arrows. Blessed Quiver is the only choice for this as far as I'm concerned. Remember where your Blessed Quiver is because you'll get more special arrows. Special arrows are the RNG element of Runner, but they are the key to getting a fast time. Unless you're an idiot like me and compete in vanilla-only leaderboards, which is another level of fun. So what we're going to do is Paradise Lost is where I would go, but I would implore you guys to go to Purgatory because you're going to be more familiar with it. So I'm not going to do this particularly fast the first time. I'm just going to go through all the little tips and all the little tricks that I know for getting a fast time, just like I've done with Fletcher. Number 1, when you are in slow time, the timer goes at normal rate. So, let me demonstrate. I need an enemy. Just one. You'll do. So, timer, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, slow time. Notice how the timer is still ticking at regular rate. And when the 5 seconds go, it's still ticking at regular rate. Not today, right in the fucking eye. Excuse me. So, do not use slow time in this mode. The only time that you should be using slow time in this mode is if you're trying to be careful. We are not trying to be careful. So, nice, rapid rate of fire. Kill the enemies as quickly as you can. It doesn't mean it has to be headshots. In Cycle 1, a body shot at full draw will kill an abomination just as quickly as a headshot. You can quite easily miss headshots. So we are going to keep on throwing arrows out. Just check that a second. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the stream. So, the next thing that's quite important with this timed mode. Again, I'm just explaining tips. I'm not being fast yet, but I'll try and give you an idea of the sort of things that I would do to get faster times. Zigzagging across the level is a great strategy to make sure that you've cleared up all the enemies. Why do we need to clear up all the enemies? This bar here represents how many enemies are left. When you get to the last 10, I think it is, this bar becomes segmented, so you know that you are at the end. So, when I say about zigzagging across the level, and this works on nearly all the configurations. Oh, also, if an arrow is garbage, don't waste time picking it up. You are literally just wasting time picking things up that you are not going to use. The only things that you should be picking up are Tempests, Divine Sights, Cupid's Wraths. Anything else, waste of time. I've come across the level to this point here. I'm now going to zag back across. If you look at it from a top-down point, I'm going to do that, basically, like figure of eights, across the level. And this is to ensure that I have killed everything. You want to try and kill 95% of enemies in an area before you move on. But you also want to try and do it quickly. Again, doesn't all have to be headshots. So I am completing my zag maneuver. There's a couple of enemies up here. Now, this is another one that will get you very familiar with levels, layouts, designs, and plans. So this is cleared. Zagging back across. Avoid cat 5. Avoid any cats. Very good, Harold. Avoid any cats like the plague. If we see them, I will show you why. I've explained it in a video, but it's worth reiterating again, because you would think cat 5s, or any cat... Let's have a look. Of course there wouldn't be. Oh, there is. You would think that Cataclysm, they're an explosive arrow, kill lots of enemies together. That must be amazing, right? Nope. Why? Because the explosions in this game force you into slow time. Doesn't do it all the time, but But you can see I'm not using slow time right now. And you see that stutter? That is not lag. I think it's just when enemies get killed by them. It happens a lot more with the bigger cataclysms. And all that slow time is doing exactly the same thing for us as if we pressed the button, except it's a little bit worse. It's not controlled by you. And because it's not controlled by you, you know, it's wasting time, and it's a bit unfair, really. But as I said, because the game is stuttering in slow time, whilst it is slowing you down, untoward to your knowledge, the timer is still ticking on at full rate. So, avoid cataclysms like the plague. I know they seem like a really good arrow for this mode, but they are not. If you were using cataclysms in your runs, and like, it's not all explosive arrows either. Cupid's Wrath is a great arrow for this mode because the explosions do a ton of damage, home in on enemies, and not only that, they do not slow the game down. So, again, I'm zagging back across this level, killing as much as I can. The routes that I take are quite well practiced from various tournaments. I know all of these configurations and where I would go. I'd love to just replay this over and over again so that I can show you all of my routes. But again, as a general rule, zig and zag across the level a couple of times and then leave for the next section. Now, important tip coming up, because I'm sure we'll hear a laughing in a minute. The orphan does not count to... I have tested this. The orphan does not count towards your kill limit. The best that you will get out of her is an unholy wind. If anybody would like to tell me how useful an unholy wind is in a timed runner trial, well, maybe I'll concede the point. But the point of the matter is, she doesn't count toward the kill limit. She's just going to eat arrows for days. The only time you would go after her or, you know, physically try and shoot her is if she is in your way or if your homing arrows are being homed in on her. Other than that, just fucking leave her. She's not going to give you a good enough arrow at this stage of the game. If you haven't got a decent arrow already, then you probably should have started the run again. Do not rely on the orphan for a decent arrow. Rely on the level for decent drops, but not the orphan. Now, I know that's the first time I got hit, but don't be afraid of getting hit. It doesn't matter. As long as you don't die, it doesn't matter. And there's usually loads of health laying around. But again, bad form on my part. Do not pick up the health. You don't need it, because you should survive. The only time that I'll allow you to go and pick up the health is if you're on fucking death's door. And even then, if you're on death's door, that's probably because you're going fast and you might be quite close to the end. So you just tough it out and just don't worry about health. The one thing that I would say is if you absolutely have to pick up health, I'm not going to be able to do it now, that would have been the perfect example. You don't have to grab health, you can walk through it. Walking through it, if it is low enough, brilliant. If it is low enough, we'll pick it up. This is a great timing, but a shit example, because I don't think... No, it won't. So if it's floor loot and it's at normal level, you can walk through that and you can pick it up. That's fine. Angle yourself to move through the thing as you are still going. One of the other things that you can do, we don't need that at the moment, but if you were so inclined, this is a teleport grab, is if you fire your teleport arrow, try and get into a good position to demonstrate this. That'll do. If you fire your teleport arrow and there are resources that you need to gather, fire your teleport arrow and then grab. Because you will then grab the thing and it will either be in your hand ready to stuff into your bow when you land, or you'll pick it up as you're teleporting. And it's all these little things that all add up. Because if you're spending ages grabbing this, grabbing that, grabbing the other, but as a general rule, you shouldn't need those things. If you're firing a teleport arrow and waiting for that teleport arrow to land, then fair enough. But if not, then you shouldn't be. Shouldn't need them. So what we're waiting for here is basically we're going to do the enemies. We're going to try and keep a little eye on how many are left. Because at this point, we know where there's a lot of enemies. We could go down there straight away, but I'm budgeting for the fact that we've missed some. So we'll keep killing. Or I usually keep killing until... Oh, getting hit, don't care. Oh, can I demonstrate? Every time. Come on. Where's the last... or last few? I wanted to show you, because at this point, you should kill everything here, and then the next room that you want to visit is the big room, because that's where the last of your enemies will be. So I would kill everything up here. We're very close to the end now. So let's kill a couple more enemies so I can show it off. God damn. Oh, there we go. Got it. So this is the segmented bar that I was saying about previously. If I was playing Purgatory, the moment that I saw that segmented bar, I would head for the big room, sit up here, kill everything as quickly as possible. Remember, body shots on orphans kill just as quickly as headshots, and we're out. Now, it's obviously not as good. It's obviously not as good as the times that I can get, but for the most part, I did that with vanilla arrows. Let's have a look on the leaderboard and see what 11 minutes would have got us, because I bet we would be in... Oh, I don't know. Don't know. It's a shame you can't scroll, really. I would say 11 minutes. Top 200, maybe? Bloody friends. Being so good at the game. Ruining things for me. Okay, so there's, like, Tash is a good player. Just under 8 minutes. 130th. So I would have said, I mean, that is on the crossbow as well. So crossbow's an even easier board for this because a lot of people don't play the crossbow. I would say that 11 minutes probably would have netted me 250th place. And again, it is better to complete a run. Now, this is one of the things that I will say. Go for a fast time after you have completed it. If you don't complete whatever it is that you are doing, your time will not be logged, or you will be logged as a did not finish, DNF, or killed, or something along those lines, which will have you ranked very low. But even then, being ranked on the board will get you some legend points. Not many, but some. And we are here to collect lots of sums, because lots of sums add up to more than some. So, but again, we're working with what we have here, and we don't have very many days. Now, the way that I would attempt Paradise Lost to try and get a top 10 score is the same way that I would attempt Purgatory. If you are familiar with Runner and you're comfortable with a reasonably fast game, do this. Doesn't matter in Purgatory too much about configurations. Again, you have to work with what you've got. My advice would be, come here, kill enemies until the first drop. So keep killing until you get a drop, depending on what that drop is and how long it takes you to get. And again, this is all down to your target time and what you're after. Keep killing and keep shooting until you get... You watch now, it'll take ages. Hello, fellas. Good of you to come. It'll take ages for us to get a drop now. So you keep killing until you get a drop, or find level loot, or a level drop. And then depending on what it is, if you fancy your chances with that, then you crack on with the run. So, for instance, Winter's Bite, that's fucking garbage. Now, if I wasn't going for a record-breaking time, I would wait until 2 drops. Winter's Bite is not going to help us. Barrage of Needles is not going to help us. So, save your arm and restart. And we go again. Now, the only time that I would say it's never a good idea to stop in the shop, but the only time that I would say you could stop in the shop is if you've got a decent little time going and you could really do with a quiver to push said time. Hello, Carol. The best time achieved in Purgatory, I can tell you what the best time achieved in Purgatory Vanilla Arrows is, because I had it and now Harry Pear has beaten me. If anyone remembers the Beat the Bar competition, me and some of the others, and again, if anybody's interested, it's probably a bit late now because you've got things that'll actually go toward legend points, but maybe next season. So because we all like Runner, a lot of players who play the game too much, but we can all quite happily agree that the top slot is based on RNG. That's 1 drop. Blood of the Lamb is not going to make us faster unless it's spiced, I guess. So to answer your question, and the reason why I know this is because we've got a separate little community leaderboard up. 2 drops, restart. Both level drops, not enemy drops, but we know now from previous testings that they all count. So the one thing that on what Carol's asking, I think my best time was vanilla was 5:41, but I have the caveat of I did that without getting hit. Harry is at 5:13, and he was like, I can't do that without getting hit, and it's like, you can save yourself a lot of time by not worrying about not getting hit. You can just play a little bit differently. The thing is, your score will be logged on this leaderboard regardless of the level that's played. Unlike other... Yep, basically, yeah. Restart if you don't get a good drop. Or don't get a good... So my rules are a little bit different, but that's because I'm playing with these fuckers. I'm trying to get... I'd love to get sub 3 minutes. I haven't had the RNG to get it yet. I might have got it on there, but yeah, sub 3 minutes is doable on both the bow and the crossbow. I'm sure of it, especially if Mike's a fantastic player, so's Harry. They can get 3 minutes. I think you can get underneath that, and they probably would say the same, but they're tops of the world respectively, so why try harder unless someone else comes sneaking up behind them? But we'll see, because I don't think I've got the time for that. Remember that you can, on all of these modes that I'm showing now, remember there is a leaderboard for the bow and a leaderboard for the crossbow. Do both. As long as you finish, as long as you put in a run, even if you die, do both. The more you do, the more little things you do, and the more you compete in, the more legend points you will get, I will promise you. And it might be the difference between you getting the next level and the next unlock or not. So, as far as the runner side of things is concerned, well, do what I said. So as far as that's concerned, Carol, I would like to think, as far as Purgatory is concerned, I think the best arrow for Purgatory is probably Tempest. I'd love to show you a good run. I've got some... I know all of the runs that I've got that I've recorded are a vanilla. The thing is, to be honest with you, Al, I don't either, but I know those boys, so I've got to try and compete at least. But the one thing that I will say is, it depends on what sort of person you are. I love my speed runnery type things, and so all I'm doing is for those that are interested in knocking a lot of time off of your runner thing, this is one of the ways to do it. But the problem with this mode, and I think it's part of the reason why nobody likes it and everyone's voting it off, is because it is very heavily based on RNG, which is a bit annoying. Oh, Unholy Wind, great. But then it doesn't take you that much effort to just do a restart. And whilst you're doing your restarts, it's not like it's wasted time. This is all time that you can be practicing your, like, initial start. So you'll see that I've come up top, gone through. There's a couple of guys in here. Deal with them. Ooh, cheeky one. I would come down here. There's that brilliant Unholy Wind drop. Great. Wildfire. Fuck this. I'm out. And what we're looking for is Cupid's Wrath, Tempest. Divine Sight is the king, or Cupid's Wrath and Divine Sight are the king's arrows for Paradise Lost. But for Purgatory, I still think it's Tempest because there's a lot of walls. The reason why Tempest isn't a great arrow for Paradise Lost is because of Banshees. Banshees will just quite happily absorb Tempest. Now, I have found out, however, that if you shoot a Tempest into the foot of a Banshee, more often than not, you will bypass her staff protection. So, let's have another couple of these and see how we go and see if I can log a decent time, a reasonably decent time. Like, I'm you know, I'm not going to... Well, actually, no, I will blow my own horn because if I don't, no one else will, right? If only Beanie was here, he'd be telling me that that's what she said. So... Oh, I'm sure you could. So... I'm a fast player. That's my natural way. I like to play the game and I find a lot of fun in playing fast. So this is all quite natural to me, and these things. Incursion can fuck off. Too slow. Although that one I don't think puts the game into slow time on the explosions. The problem with it is that it takes time to go off. And there's a wildfire. He got over way too close. So again, we'll do a quick little restart there. It doesn't take 2 seconds to restart. I've had to do this a hell of a lot. So the rules that I use are a lot harsher. In Paradise Lost, it's the first drop. And if I haven't had the first drop within 20 to 30 seconds, I restart. So you can imagine I do a lot of fucking restarting, but that's because I'm trying to get a sub 3 minute time. So again, you don't have to do this, but it's one of the ways that you can kind of possibly mitigate the RNG a little bit. Because you don't want to be relying on going into the shop. You could have a really great run going on and then there'd be nothing in the shop that's of any good to speed you up. Pestilence isn't too bad, but it's not quick enough for killing things, and its area just isn't that great. One of the things that I will note, or one of the things that I found within, this is true with Runner, I can't remember if it's the case with Fletcher, but with Runner, any arrow that you have not got upgraded will not be upgraded in Runner, even if you've got it. So let's say, for instance, you haven't unlocked... Think of an arrow that has an upgrade with it that you unlock. Tempest. Say, for instance, you hadn't unlocked Tempest. You could still get Tempest in Runner, and you could still get Tempest in Fletcher. However, you wouldn't get the 2 upgrades if you haven't got them. You'd be given the arrow whether you had it or not, but they wouldn't be as powerful as somebody who had both of the upgrades unlocked on their main profile. So that is worth noting, because Tempest is a good arrow normally with both of the upgrades on cycle 1. This is. With both of the upgrades, it's a fantastic arrow because it does additional damage as it passes through enemies, and it has, I think it has a wider radius. I think that's the 2 upgrades for it. So yeah, let's do a few more of these. But again, as I said, it might not be what you'd consider fun. There's my second drop. It might not be what you would consider fun. Now there's a good arrow. So sometimes it can be worth playing. One of the reasons why I have to play this way. Yes, it would. I would love it if it was vanilla arrows. No, what I think Runner needed was something similar to what was it? Pit Runner, where you got to pick one of 3 arrows at the start, and then the only thing that you found within the Pit Runner tournament levels was life. If you start bringing quiver drops into it, or drops into it, you then just open up the RNG factor, and it's just, I don't think that's what people like. Me being one of them, and I'm like top of the leaderboard, or in the top of the leaderboard. So these are the sort of runs that you will do well on, where you get a powerful arrow, and then you start being able to live off of the land because you get given quivers. So I don't have to worry about visiting the shop, don't have to go down there, because you just throw a load of arrows down there. We are going to have to check these corners a bit, though, because we haven't done much in that room. Bye-bye. Again, I'm playing for, like, an amazing time. Or, well, you know, a decent time at the very least. Should be going a bit faster than this. For me, a good time, the level will give you all the things that you need. You'll constantly be given quivers. You won't have to switch back to vanilla arrows. You'll constantly be given stuff. Now, at this point, even if I had got the drop that I wanted, if I now didn't get the next drop wasn't a quiver and didn't come fast, then again, I would restart. I mean, we're close to the end of the level. There's the quiver. So let's go. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Back into the middle. Bow, 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 bow. Note how the game is not slowing down one iota with Cupid's Wrath, even though it is an explosive arrow, which is one of the things that makes it a good arrow. The only problem with Cupid's Wrath ×1 is it's got a decent amount of ammo, but Cupid's Wrath ×3 just does a lot more damage, so that means it kills enemies quicker. Fuck me, could have been one hell of a run if that had been the right arrow. So imagine if that had been Tempest, I could have absolutely slaughtered through this level very quickly. Now we can see that I'm getting close to the end. Cupid's Wrath and Divine Sight are great for this bit, because you can just do that. Remember, these arrows follow your gaze as well. And again, as soon as we see... It should be any time soon. Might go down there in a minute, actually. Yeah, sod it. Let's go down there now. Because we know there's a lot of enemies down the bottom, and we're close. And this should... He hopes. No? No? Ooh, might have missed too many. Now, I know I've done a lot of dithering and talking, so this is going to be an amazing time. But there you go, sub 6 minutes. Got a decent bit of RNG. Got the arrow a bit late, I might add. So what was that, 5:45? So yeah, not bad. Not bad. Hello, Doge. Where would 5:45 get me? Probably quite nice, to be honest with you. 5:45, top 20. And I you know, again, I am experienced with these things, but I did a fair amount of chatting, didn't get the RNG that I wanted, did things that were a bit slower than they could have been. Like a 6 minute time, you know, and I think, again, anyone who's watching here, maybe. Maybe in my sleep. Hey, Carol, you're fast. I've seen your bow work. Look, if I can do that, I think you guys can do that. You've watched enough. Come on. Show me, chat. Show me. I want to see some of these names. Not beanies. Don't want to see that name. So... Right, so I think I've put my point across on Runner. So the theme here is I'm going for the things that I think that anybody could pick up. Not anybody, you need to have some experience in the game. But if you're concerned about season end, then I would imagine you have at least a little bit of experience in the game. If you picked the game up yesterday, You still might be able to follow some of this if you've got a little talent to you at the very beginning of things. But it's all about... We're basically looking for low-hanging fruit. And I think a lot of the... no offence to anybody here or anyone who's on any of these boards, but there is a lot of low-hanging fruit here if you know where to look and if you just know a handful of techniques. Like, for instance, I love Fletcher, but why is the top score only 3 million? You know, I like Purist, and that is one hell of a top score, to be fair, for Purist. And, like, these are the sort of, like, even look at the gap between all of that. It's only 1 million between where I am, and I've had a little fun run on the bow. Not a fun run, I was trying. And I definitely had a fun run on the crossbow. That pissed Cam off. Now, again, I was trying on both of them, and I managed to get 2 million, but trying but not playing correctly. You could spend a lot of time in Purist getting a good score, but the problem is we haven't got a lot of time. You could, if you wanted, as I said previously, wanted to try and put a little Purist run in and get a decent score. Well, if you are confident in your no slow time abilities, you could go an Orphan Assassination if you really wanted to. It's a lot more difficult vanilla arrows because you haven't got that killing power. Although I will demonstrate something to you guys on Purist, which I think you will find quite interesting, hopefully. So, we haven't got the killing power to kill the Orphan in one shot close. We also haven't got the slow time ability either. So there is the danger of taking a hit. So this is purely for academic purposes. Because I tried playing this earlier and I did take a hit from it, but let's see if I can do it. So we know exactly where the Orphan is. We're not going to bother with the pit because I'm not going to show you the pit. This is a lot harder to accomplish on Purist in the pit as well. But again, you could just go through the entire game, taking out Orphans, nothing else. You don't have to worry about missing arrows. You would be able to get a pretty decent score before your life gives out. You then would start looking at the game along the lines of, I will lose 1 piece of life per Orphan. That's probably a big ask if you're including the pit Orphans in that. So here's a technique that I don't think I've shown it off. I definitely haven't shown it off in this regard. But if you know where the Orphan is, so I know in this configuration, the Orphan, I think she can only be in one... she can only be in one place, which is right at the back of the level. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump down there, put a hit into her. We haven't got our slow time to rely on, so we're just going to bin it the fuck out. And that looks, without getting hit, something like this. Get in, put the hit in, run. Now, as long as it doesn't matter if we can still hear her music from lifting off. I did go the wrong way. I should have gone back through the level, but pick the safest route. Just be a bit faster than I was, potentially. Now, the damage that we've done to her will stay. The only problem that we're going to have is we're going to have a bit of a mix-up of enemies down there. Now, providing she didn't get away, and as you can hear, she didn't. What happened there is I put the damage into her, and then I got far enough away that there were other enemies that had priority, and because of this rule of 17 that we often talk about, she has despawned. If she despawns... No worries, Doge. Possibly Saturday? I'd like to get that finished up, actually, to be fair, so that's a good reminder. Maybe I'll do a bonus stream next week, do an extra one, because I got a busy week and hopefully it'll be a good one next week, but I might do an extra one. We shall see. The only reason why I'm streaming a lot of this is because it's coming up to end of season, so a lot of people are hungry for some knowledge and some guidance on what to do. I figure. I know I would be. So we've hit that Orphan, we've done a plenty of damage, and she despawned as we were running away. If, as a general rule, because it isn't always the case, but as a general rule, if you hear the liftoff sound but the laugh goes away, you're fine. Hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that right now. Now, she may have moved ever so slightly. We're going to try and hit her again, and run. Now, this might not work quite as well. Hear the music, but not the laughter. That usually means that you have got far enough away. Now, you could use this in your main game. I'm just trying to demonstrate it. Now, where did she go? She went up here, didn't she? There she is. So, utilising this, like, bites of the cherry is what I would call it, if I'm going to call it anything. And again, I'm by no means the first person to know this or utilise it. I definitely use this in Fletcher at later cycles. And the reason being is because especially in the pits, I might have a really good arrow to assassinate the orphan with, but I can't rely on the follow-up arrow being good enough. So I would hit her with my, say, a volley 5, and at those high cycles, that would not be enough to down her. So I would have the intention of hitting her with the volley 5. It's easier in Fletcher because slow time. Slow timing the hell out of there, cycling my arrows on other enemies until I get another good one for doing a ton of damage to an orphan, and then going back in, finishing her up, and then fucking the hell out of her. So yeah. Hopefully I can hear... Is that the frantic scribbling of notepads? I hope it is. So, Purist is not where you want to be spending your time, I don't think, because Purist is a fucking difficult mode. We've only got a handful of days left. These are good scores. Well, these are good scores. Yeah, no, everything above mine is a good score. Some of them below mine are a good score, except Cam's. That's a rubbish score. These are good scores. 2.2 million. Orphan assassination wise, you would have to be able to get to cycle 8. Doing the orphan assassination might not be the problem. Doing the bosses would be. Nice one, Cal. Right, so Purist we've covered. I don't think that's worth your time. Runner is worth your time. I think Fletcher is definitely worth your time. The main mode, probably not. There's probably enough for you to get on there with the bow and the crossbow and the runner bow and crossbow, I would like to think. So, where else could we get some legend points? I'll need to change profile. Hold on a second, because we're going to Siege. I think I can go straight there. Where's the profile thingy? There it is. Lovely. Siege of Heaven. Now, this is the big one. Now, as I don't know if Dave's still in the chat or not, but he asked some poignant questions on Facebook. How many legend points do you get for finishing in X position? Or will you get more points for finishing on certain leaderboards? The problem is nobody knows. And I have my finishing leaderboard from last season, although all the graphics didn't load up and the cool noise that we got from the last community tournament didn't load up. None of the cool stuff loaded up, so it's the drabbest video of my experience bar just going up and no glory. The one thing that I can tell you is you will get a lot more legend points for positions these seasons than I used to in the older seasons. And I think the reason why Super Bright are doing it is so that people can catch up to the people that are high up on the leaderboard, because there is a legend point leaderboard. If you want to find that legend point leaderboard, you need to go into the leaderboard side of things on the game, on the app, before you log in. I can tell you who's there if you like. You can probably guess. So, Beanie's a close second, and that's where he's staying. So, as far as legend points are concerned, what I can say to you is previously there hasn't been that massive a difference between 1st and 10th, because a lot of the people that I know are in that bracket. And we obviously all talk and go, fucking hell, I only got 990 points for 7th. And then Harry will tell me, well, I only got 1,000. It's like, well, it's only 10 legend point difference, so it doesn't really matter. The legend point leaderboard is not in the game anymore, ergo it doesn't count for anything. It's just, to be honest with you, it's probably more embarrassing to be at the top of that than anything. It means I've accomplished less and been playing longer. Anyway, so as far as legend points are concerned, what is available to us in Siege? So what I will do in the comments is I will drop a link to the video that I just done, which is kind of like a sums up all of this. But I've done it as what is classed as evergreen content, so that somebody who gets to the end of the season can look at that video and have some of their worries and concerns, dispelled. Like, do you lose progress? Do you lose achievements? Do you lose things like that? The answer is no, you don't lose anything. It's only gains, really. You can lose the ability for your run to qualify in the next season to the leaderboard, but the run will actually stay the same. But get your run finished up before the end of the season would be my advice. The other thing that I go on to in that video is all the different things that you can do to score legend points, and I've been through all of them. Now, Siege of Heaven, there is some very low-hanging fruit here, and it's simply because a lot of people do not play Siege of Heaven. It's a sad truth, but it's a truth. So you have the total leaderboard, so that is your total score. I haven't played much Siege of Heaven this season, if I'm honest. I just want to make sure I get top 10 on everything. Big boards, anyway. Or at least that's my goal for the season, and I'm where I need to be, so I'll put my time in places where I'm not. But I think I'm top 10 in everything that I wanted to be, so that's happy days. I'm not bothered about being top 10 on these sub-leaderboards, but you better believe I've qualified and got as high as I think I need to be. Higher than Beanie and most of them, anyway. So your total, that is one leaderboard. That is your combined best score across each of the maps. What does it actually say about easy? I don't think it does. So one of the questions, and it's a good question, is is easy like its own separate leaderboards? Well, as you can see, as I change from normal to easy, nothing changes. So, and again, I can't confirm or deny this because I've never really played in easy. I think I had one go in easy, and in fact, I think I've only ever played easy when me and Beanie were messing about doing something. The point is, in easy, there is about as many enemies across the entire 15 waves as you'll probably get in the first 5 in normal. So even if you went on easy and completed it, you would be better off spending your time in normal and getting 5, 6, 7 waves deep, and you would beat your score. I almost guarantee it, because the enemies are more dense, which means that you can combo more. They have more life. There is more of them, which means you will get a better score in normal, maybe only just like dying on wave 5 or 6, than you would do in completing easy. So it kind of makes easy null and void. However, the reason why easy can be good is there are some achievements that do not specify that you have to be in normal mode. Kill 10 enemies in rapid succession without missing. That would be very difficult to get in easy, but it doesn't specifically say it needs to be in normal. Quickly find one that does. There you go. Survive 15 waves in Ruined Bastion on normal. If it specifies that it needs to be done on normal, it needs to be done on normal. There are some achievements that you can harvest up in easy, but again, if you're looking for achievements, you want to be doing it in normal. Now, on to the legend points. Where are the legend points here? Total score across all maps. Individual score. Headshots that you've achieved across as many waves as you're capable of doing, or completion. Time that you are able to complete. That one does need finished, otherwise you'll get a DNF. Combo, the longest combo that you've managed to achieve. So copious amounts of slow time between shots. Extend the time that you have to hit your combos. I don't exactly know what this score relates to, and I don't think anybody else does either. But what I can tell you is if you get a decent combo, you'll get a decent score. I think like that might mean that my best combo was 420,000. It definitely isn't in the millions. But again, I don't know what that relates to. But as a long and short of it, get a big, long, high-scoring combo and you'll get up there. But even if you don't get a big, long, high-scoring combo, you could get a low one and still probably get in the top 100, top 200. So there's some easy points there. Well, not so much easy. Multi-kills. Now, look at my multi-kill score. And that's me trying for high scores. Whereas Stanky Storms here is probably not going to have as good a score as me, yet he is very high up in the multi-kills. That is probably because he is... did I say multi-kills? Yeah. And that's probably because he is concentrated on multi-kills. Now, what is a multi-kill? A multi-kill is any amount of enemies killed at the same time larger than 1. And it's individual. So if you get 2 kills together with, say, a Tempest, or 50,000 kills altogether with an Incursion, I know you guys tell me a million billion times never to exaggerate, but I will. If you get a multi-kill with 2 kills in it, or a multi-kill with 20 kills in it, it still only counts as 1 multi-kill. So that's a very important point for doing well on that leaderboard. Cupids get 3 headshots in a row without missing. This is the one that I would not spend a lot of time on unless you are confident in your abilities. I mean, like, Beanie's specifically gone after that because it isn't necessarily about getting multiple headshots and Cupids. As you'll see, he's the #1 in the world for Cupids killed. However, he is not the #1 in the world. He is the 10th in the world for... Oh, hang on, wrong board. Where is he on the scoreboard? He can play this map very well, but he's not even in the top 10, yet he has killed the most Cupids out of anybody in any of their runs. And that's because killing Cupids isn't the meta anymore, or it kind of is, but when you get to a certain point, you don't have to kill them anymore. Hence why mine's where it is. So I wouldn't worry about Cupids because that does require a level of skill. There is definitely a skill gap. You need to hit 3 headshots before a Cupid spawns. You can then headshot the Cupid, which then adds 1 extra headshot to your next 3, so you can get Cupids to spawn rather rapidly, which is what Beanie will have been doing. Distance is a really tricky one because I don't exactly know how it works again, but because there is a score here, I would surmise that anything that is distance will be a long shot or a sniper shot, and this is the score total that you've got across all 15 waves of shots that have qualified as either long or sniper. So the way to get these is to aim for comboing shots and finishing it off with a big long shot with the likes of, say, Tempest or something along those lines. Again, I don't think that board is worth going after, but do it if you want to. Now, gap shots. Gap shots is quite an easy one to explain. It is just literally firing between something to hit an enemy behind it. So probably be easier to just demonstrate in the level, which I will do. Now, the beauty of all of these leaderboards is whether you can play Siege of Heaven well or not, you will rank in most of these just by playing Siege of Heaven on the map. And my advice would be play each and every map once at least within each chapter. Now, if you were doing things like me and you wanted to go for really good, like, times, one thing to be noted with time is that is time to complete. The way that you would play Siege of Heaven to complete the game in as quick a time as possible is completely different to the way that you would play the game to score well. Hence why all of these names for time are different to all of these names for score, or I would imagine most of them. I would wager that not one name in the top 10 there will be in the top 10 as far as score's concerned, unless they've done it, or they wouldn't do both in the same run is probably the better way to put it, because there's some good players that can play fast. Harry's one of them, for instance. Like, there you go. Actually, there you go. There's the example. The example that proves the rule. But then Harry will have got that score, and he will have purposely gone for that time in 2 different runs, because time and score, I mean, Harry's a very quick player and that's why he's got a decent score, but that time will not be in relation to that score. So play each map at least once. Now let's go and take a look at what some of these things are. Multi-kill, I shouldn't have to explain what a headshot is. multi-kill, gap shot, combo, cupids, distance, time. Okay. So we know what we're after. So let's play a level. Now, I'm not going to play all of this. I'm just going to play a little bit and demonstrate the various techniques. Now, you do not have to be at 100% to play this mode, but I would say you need to be at 100% if you want to be looking at top 10. It's just a lot of advantages. Excuse me. Oh, quick word of water. There are a lot of advantages to having a high percentage to 100% percentage completed. This is actually one of them that you see in front of you here, is one of the achievements that you can get out of, I think it's Siege Royale, one of the new ones, or Desolation Town. It's the ability to pick one of the arrows of your choice from the very start. So I would, well, for most maps, I would nearly always take Tempest. That's an advantage. It's just a massive advantage straight off the bat. For somebody who's trying to score well, it is a huge advantage. So, that was a great shot. Couldn't miss that bell again, could I? So, to start the mode, we need to hit the bell. Now, if I was playing a wave for speed, it would look something like this. Notice how I'm also probably going to get distance out of this as well. You can also ring the bell a second time. That puts the game into rage mode. What does that do? Well, I forgot, to be fair, that speeds all the enemies up. And that's what we want to do. We want the enemies going as fast as possible, and we want to kill them as quickly as possible. That was a crap time, but you get the idea. Ring the bell a second time to put it in rage, kill everything as quickly as possible. You don't have to rage the bell, but you should, because the enemies then spawn quicker and you can get a faster time. Now, if I was continuing my speed run, I could, because whilst you are in the shop, as I understand it, this is what I've been told, but I can never test, because if I'm going for a speed run, you better believe I'm going to play my heart out and be sweating by the end of it, but I'm not going to test these things whilst doing that. Maybe I will. But I've been assured that when you are in the shop, whatever timer is ticking on in the background for your timing score stops. So with that knowledge, you know that you can have a breather in between levels if you are going for a good time. I won't advise you on what to do in Siege of Heaven. That's another stream. But yeah, don't take times ones. But if you are going for specific things like multi-kills, I would never, ever take Catalyst. You better believe if I was going for the multi-kill leaderboard, I would. Because Catalyst is a great arrow for that. So let's play for time again quickly. So again, accuracy to the wind, throwing arrows out there, just trying to get the kills. That is a good example of a gap shot. That was a rubbish. Look at this accuracy, people. It's amazing. But the reason why I'm doing that is for a good reason, and that is, if I aim every single shot, every time I miss, I'm having to fire another shot again. If I concentrate on rate of fire, but put my bow in the general direction, and there's lots of enemies there, I'm likely to take them down. I've also kind of developed this whole technique of firing fast, but and watching where my arrows are going and then moving the bow accordingly, as opposed to the deliberate aim. And the reason being is because we're going for long distance shots. These are hard shots to make, really hard shots, especially to hit first time and to hit the head. Incursion is another great arrow for multi-kills. Incursion is actually a really good arrow for sniper shots as well, because you can set incursions way out in the distance, and if they explode and kill enemies really far away from you, they count as sniper shots. Normally, a sniper shot would be one between those two pillars, if you can see where that arrow's going. That's sort of sniper range, an enemy walking along that pathway there. If you were to lay some incursions up at the top here, then any enemy that walks into them, it basically, when the incursion blows up, it measures your distance from the enemy at time of destruction and awards you the distance of shot based on that. I think that's a good enough explanation. So yeah, incursions are really good arrows for when we're talking about distance. So we're not going to play for time anymore. And again, Siege of Heaven is normally copious amounts of slow time. However, in a speedy timed mode, do not press that button. Time is one of the leaderboards that I would, and again, not a lot of people play Siege of Heaven fast. Time is the sort of leaderboard that I would go for separately. So, good way to get sniper shots with Tempests. That's a sniper shot, and also note that because he was between that archway and behind it, and I fired the Tempest through it, that also counts as a gap shot. I got lucky there. Some things count as gap shots, others don't. Like, for instance, that's a gap shot, that's a gap shot, that's a gap shot. Firing through there is not a gap shot. The more you play this mode, the more familiar you become with that. To give you an example of what, here we go, what a Cupid looks like, we'd have to slow things right down and play it properly. You don't need to get the headshots within combo, but you do need to land 3 headshots without missing. Damn it. Welcome to Siege of Heaven, the place of the never-ending fucking neck shot. It's lucky it gave me it, that was a chin. So that's 2 headshots. Again, copious amounts of slow time, because I'm going to wait. When I play Siege of Heaven properly, this, other than with special arrows, is my kill box. I don't fire shit up the stairs, definitely don't fire down there, and I don't fire all the way over there or anywhere past those stairs. Hell, if it's a risky shot if I fired at anything there. I have like a semicircle here, and that's what I kill things in. I'm also going to wait for this guy so that the Cupid is an easier shot. So I've done 2 headshots. It does not matter. The music is the combo. It does not matter about making these headshots within a 5 seconds of each other, as long as all 3 of your shots are consecutive hits and headshots. Like that one. Yes! Done it live. I shouldn't be proud of that. You will get a Cupid spawn. Nail the Cupid. That is 1 Cupid. Beanie got 96 of those in 1 level. Now, as I said, if you can play this well and you aren't aware of these leaderboards, you can get headshots on Cupids. It is a difficult shot at best on most levels. Now, what else? So we've covered time. We've covered Cupids. Oh, and if anyone's got any questions, keep them rolling, because I'm sure there's things that I'm missing that you guys might consider quite pressing, or things that you need to know. And as I said, I am more than happy to answer. And also, if you think the question is dumb, I would never be the sort of person, unless it was like Beanie or Cam or someone along those lines, I would never be the sort of person to berate you for any question, especially if it's, well, keep it IDU related, otherwise maybe I'll have a go. But I will never berate anybody for any question, because I've been where people are now, where you don't know the things. And the worst part about, one of the worst things about this fucking game is the information is not out there anywhere. It's not out there to hand, which means that you cannot simply just Google it, or you cannot like go to the wiki. You cannot do these things because the information doesn't exist. How many legend points you get for finishing first in a season? Who fucking knows? Nobody knows. How much damage does such and such a shot do? Such and such a cycle? Nobody knows, because nobody's got the formulas officially from the game. Anything that is known, or information that is out there, is all player worked out. Super Bright do not help us. I think it's because Super Bright don't know either. But that's another story. But then that's the thing, is why should they? They're working with somebody else's code. Yes, it's warped and changed, but, you know, these things happen, I would imagine. Let's see if we can demonstrate some of these sniper shots with that. So we've got some distance shots. We have got some... I've shown you how to get a Cupid, but the Cupid one I wouldn't worry about. Shown you how to be fast. Again, copious amounts of special arrows. Use the bell if you're comfortable, but you'll be able to get a top 100 time on time, even if you didn't use the bell. Because even the best players do not play for time. The only reason why I've got a decent time on the time board is because I've physically come back in here to get it and played completely alien to the way that I normally would play Siege of Heaven, because I'd normally play for score, not for speed. So what else we got? Multi-kills, gap shots, those are both categories. Score, don't worry about, because again, I mean, just playing through, you'll get some of these. So let me try and show a... Oh yeah, we were going to try and do a sniper shot, weren't we? So I'll set one of these up. Now again, remember you have to aim quite the... Oh, that was way long. I can. If they haven't even landed. That was way too far away. Yes, I can. But again, I wouldn't worry. Like, those were completely lucky shots. I would never take shots at that distance if I was playing properly. Because that usually happens when you start taking shots that you are not familiar with. I'm not familiar with trying to hit the orphan. Hell, I always use a special arrow for the orphan. Right, let's try and set this up again. So, as far as... Is it even going to go? There we go. That might work. So, pay attention if you can. When that blows up, we should at least get a long shot, if not a sniper shot. Is it technically a long shot? No, but the game detects it as such. So, to answer young Carol's question, we would need to do well, first and foremost. Because it isn't just about the big crowds, it's also about hitting Cupids to spawn these rings. Because those rings give you 4 times the points. Now, the problem with Siege of Heaven, and one of the reasons why it isn't as popular, is because there is a massive skill gap. There's also, and I think this is a bigger factor than the skill gap, there is also the factor I'll get to that in just a second. I will tell you about that one, but no, they don't. So, as far as the scoring side of things is concerned, no, sorry, I was talking about the skill gap, wasn't I? The skill gap side of things is one issue. I think the bigger issue is tracking in VR is just not good enough for the level of precision that you need to get. If tracking was never an issue, then a lot of the scores would be a lot higher, a lot closer in the season. Tracking is a big thing because, you know, the arrows don't always go where you want them to because things are ever so slightly off. There is an element of practice. I mean, look at these shots. They're great, aren't they? There is an element of practice and using slow time and becoming familiar. But I can tell you now there's a lot of things that I have to do in this game because... I can liken it to something like darts. You can't get the level of consistency in this game to be able to reliably make headshots at this distance. Or at least I've been playing a long time and I can't. And I also see a lot of the top players are the same as well. They'll have this kill box of comfort that they use to make kills. Some of the better players than me, like RB, probably Harry as well, but I haven't seen a lot of his gameplay, keeps it all to himself. RB and Harry and Jarek and even Elite J and all these crowd, they all, maybe not Elite Jonathan, but they all hit orphans with regular arrows at distances that I wouldn't even dream of because I don't want to miss, because that's part and parcel of the scoring. So... why am I talking about the skill gap? The reason why I'm talking about the skill gap is putting 3 headshots consecutively together is difficult, but it does give you the clues that you need as to where the scoring is big in the level. So the big scoring is double gap shots or places where 4 times spawn, which have things in front of them, like this. So this is a good example. This is a bad wave. Wave 5 you can manipulate. Some waves you can manipulate for the big scores. This one would have been one of them, but I've missed the opportunity now. And I can't put any big scores in because I haven't got any Tempest arrows. But let's see what I can do. Let's get some headshots and see if we can get some arrows. The other thing that's quite a problem with Siege of Heaven is RNG, because you might get the greatest setup of enemies because there is slight variations in the way they spawn, the order, and what comes out where sometimes. Again, I haven't studied Siege of Heaven enough to know these things, but there is an RNG element. The biggest one is where these spawn, because there are multiple locations where they can spawn. That one's useless to me. That one's useless to me. That one's okay. That one's the one that I want. And if it takes me 12 headshots and 4 cupids to get the one that I want, well, someone who gets that first time is going to be in a better position to make the big scoring shots before me, and would be better set up. And on the skill gap side of things, taken aside from the RNG side of things, is doing this, hopefully. Oh, crap. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Getting headshots on cupids is incredibly difficult. Especially on levels like this, depending on where they fly away. I'm only just starting to develop a good technique for getting the one that goes that way sometimes. But the problem is, going for that headshot can often lead to a miss. You miss, you might as well fucking start your run again. Right now we've got some Tempests. I might be able to demonstrate a decent scoring shot. So, first things first, before you make this decent scoring shot, make sure you are part of a combo, because that then, in essence, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it doubles what you would score. So, and you could also ring the bell if you wanted to get this score higher, but I would leave that until you're very experienced in Siege. So we've got the guys coming down here. What they're going to do, because this always happens on this wave, but their formation and order can be a little bit different. I think both knights always come out, but the abominations can do different things. So these guys are going to walk down here, and they're going to be in this area. Now, ideally, we want to hit an enemy. Doesn't matter what distance, and doesn't really matter if we miss first time, but then, of course, we lose our perfect. So what we want to do is try and get a hit on an enemy. So to really maximize my score here, this is a bit of a waste and not a good thing to do. But I could use a Tempest on him to get me in combo and make sure I haven't missed any shots yet. And then the next shot wants to be through both of those gaps and hitting as much of that mess in there as possible. I also now do not want to miss, because if I don't miss, I will double my score at the end of a wave. So it's not just getting the big shots is great. Getting a perfect wave. Why did I go for that shot? I literally was thinking, getting a perfect wave, like I'm going to demonstrate. Idiot. Shouldn't have even thought it. Getting a perfect wave involves not missing a single shot. It is difficult. It is even more difficult to do that whilst scoring well, as I probably won't demonstrate. Tempests is usually the key on most levels to getting a decent score. This might work now? So, remember, I fired that off ages ago. If I move further away, it should be a sniper shot if it blows. There you go. One of them was sniper shot at the top there. So that didn't involve me having to fire an arrow halfway across the map to get a sniper shot. This is another way to unlock some of the achievements that you can get in the game from doing sniper shots, or doing so many sniper shots in a run. Yes, you can hit sniper shots and be completely garbage at this mode. Now, let's see if we can set up a bigger shot. Yes, that would be nice. So I headshotted the Cupid there because that's an easier... It's still not an easy shot, but it's an easier angle than if it flies off there. This is another problem with Siege, is unless you are capable of doing that, because that generates you a free arrow. Now, might not be a good one, but somebody who is capable of doing that, damn it, over and over again, can be just generating special arrows, and special arrows is how you score well. But again, that's RNG based as well, so... Damn it. It's like you want to talk to somebody about natural skills. It's not me. This took a very long time to get reasonably good. There you go. I wasn't even thinking about it, and I got perfect. So that was not missing an arrow. It just takes time. I have got some tutorials out there, which if you follow, because I know Elite Jonathan went through each of my tutorials, and he's also obviously asked poignant questions and put a lot of time into the game. But he is somebody who could not play Siege of Heaven. If he was here, he would tell you that. And it was something that he always wanted to do, but it seemed quite intimidating. And then he started watching some videos and started doing some bits and pieces, got into it, which was the important thing, and just... Consistency is the big thing here. You need to make sure... What I can tell you is, again, back to consistency. Always be at full draw. Always have your arm in the same place. Always anchor your draw hand to the same spot. And on top of all of that... I had a really good thing to say then. I can't remember. It can't have been that great, can it? Fuck. So anchor. Oh yeah, and this is quite an important one. Quick. Be fast on the draw, but maybe slower on your shot. If you... I know, right? This is part of the problem I think I have with what I'm doing on the channel, is I've got way too many videos and way too many playlists. And it would break my heart to have to delete any of them. If you go into playlists and you look for the Siege of Heaven playlist, I usually stuff all of the videos that are to do with Siege of Heaven in there. There is a somewhere to start from, beginner and intermediate to advanced. So there's 3 main videos. And I think all of the points still stand true because Siege of Heaven has not changed much. Since the days of the meta being how many Cupids you could kill. But that's no longer... the factor. In fact, I think it's always been gap shots, we just didn't know. Multi-kills. We haven't done those yet. Let's do those. So, again, just to accentuate the point on what a multi-kill is. Oh, and the reason why I say about drawing fast is that is a soft counter to how tracking works within the game. If you draw slowly, there is the possibility that you might be doing this. I mean, that's massively exaggerated. But then when the cameras stop seeing your hand, they guess. And they guess where your hand went based on its last position. If you are fast, you are likely to draw straighter. And because of that, you'll get more of a consistent shot. That's not even a good shot. So, the big factors for points are you want to be in combo. Oh, we'll take that. You want to be in combo, and you want to be looking for lots of enemies over 4 times, and the big shots. But again, you know, as I said, all the videos are in the old Siege of Heaven thing, so... you are highly under consideration, Carol. Sometimes I think I need an assistant. Too many videos to do, not enough time. Although the one thing that I will tell you is I am really bad on pay, so you'll be working as an intern. So, go on, don't miss. Oof, just. So So we didn't do any bloody multi-kills then. Got carried away. Right, let's do some multi-kills. What is a multi-kill? So I think I've demonstrated well enough what a gap shot is. But again, just to reinforce, see this diamondy shape thing? If I shot an arrow through that and hit the enemy behind... If I hit the... Nice one, Carol. If I hit the enemy through that gap, that will be a gap shot. Again, as you play the level, you will learn where the gap shots are and where they are not. For instance, this is a gap shot, this is a gap shot, this is a gap shot. That is a double gap shot because there's actually two arches there, so it's all that mess that you want to be firing through. You can also get those gap shots with tempests, even if the enemy is behind the thing that you are firing, because it has technically gone past the gap. Think of it as the edge of the tempest has grazed the gap. It still counts as a gap shot. So if there was an enemy directly behind that pillar, and we know that, you know, those areas around that pillar are gap shots, that will count. What doesn't count, unfortunately, is if we did something like that. Oh, no, that. It registers the position of the explosion, not where the shot originated from, because technically you could go, oh, come on now, that's a gap shot, surely when it blows up because I fired it through the gap. Nope, doesn't allow it, unfortunately. So, multi-kills. Let's get some multi-kills. So, just to, as I said, demonstrate what... some of these actually might go off. Probably in good enough position to do so. So, this is why catalysts... Oh, no, he's walked away. Part of the reason why catalysts are rubbish in this mode is because, and it's part of the reason why incursions are much better either, at least Hand of God you can trust. At least Tempest flies straight. These heavier categoried arrows, normal arrow shot, I can't work with that. I can't, especially when it's a limited number of arrows. I can't work with that. So, that combo ×4 long shot multi-kill. That is one multi-kill, even though there was 4 enemies within it. That is one multi-kill, even though it only consisted of 2 enemies. Etc, etc. And then obviously I've demonstrated, or am demonstrating, what a combo is right now. Hear the music in the background increasing in pitch, and also note my massive use of slow time. Because slow time... So... Forget what I told you about Runner, because that's for Runner. The slow time in Runner does not freeze the clock, the tournament clock. However, or freeze, slows down. Doesn't slow down the tournament clock. However, the slow time does. Not true, Al, but I'll tell you why in a minute. But good question. It's a great question, actually, and I'll come on to that just next. Slow time with the bow in this mode allows you to extend the time you have to make your next shot. So basically what I'm saying is slow timing in this mode, and part of the reason why it is absolutely essential if you're going to score decently, is you can work the timer with slow time so that you can take stock of your situation. You don't have to be rattling shots off. It can buy you a lot of time to keep your combo going, but you still only get 5 seconds between shots. If you didn't press slow time, the time that you have to hit the next enemy is about 3 to 5 seconds, probably 4 seconds. But when the music ends, which you'll possibly hear in the background of me yammering on, when the music's going, and as you hit more, the bigger combo you've got, the more crescendo and pitch the combo will get. So it definitely causes the endorphin rush. It's brilliant. Now on to, hang on, so that was, so yeah, like with runner, don't use slow time because the in-game clock is not affected by it, or the timer for the runner mode is not affected by it. Whereas in Siege of Heaven and even in your main game for the fabled executioner bonus, using slow time delays that. So we could put a general rule on this. If the timer is hidden and you can't see it, slow time will help. If the timer is visible, slow time will hinder. I'm sure I could make a really cool rhyme. I'll leave that to you guys to do. I'm sure I could make a really cool rhyme about that, but basically if you can see the time, slow time will not help the time, and if you cannot see the timer, i.e. the timer here, or executioner bonus, because we can only hear the timing within this, then it helps. I'm sure there's a rhyme in there somewhere. But that is for another day. Oh, fuck's sake, now I'm all going to be thinking about it as a way to make all of that shit rhyme. So, what Al was asking about, or what Al was pointing out with knights and body shots. Now, the important thing to note is the mechanic that is at work here. A kill starts and continues a combo. A hit does not end the combo, but neither does it continue the combo going. So what do I mean by that? If I hit that skeleton, combo has started. The first hit, you'll hear like a blow of wind. The next hit you start hearing the music coming in. Now, that didn't count as a kill, so the combo hasn't progressed, nor has it ended. Now that he's been killed, if I'd have done that in time, the combo would have carried on. Basically, your combo still continues, even with a body shot, or rather, a body shot does not end your combo, but it doesn't extend the time like a kill would, if that makes sense. Never tried to make that shot. Fucking shit. Don't make this shot either. Or this one. Oof, that was a good headshot. So, like, this is the difference between me and someone I would consider like an exceptional player, is they'll make headshots at those sort of distances all day. And I still don't think there's anyone that can do that because the tracking, I don't think, is there. So that is another thing that's worth talking about as well. But I'll just make sure that Al gets what I'm trying to lay down with that whole body shot and thing first. But there are lots of things that you can do to improve your tracking, and I would say not a large part, but part of the reason why I can play Siege of Heaven well-ish is because I've done all of these things, which, again, I was thinking of doing like a tracking video at some point, like, and using IDU as the example, because you have to be precise in IDU. So if you can get reliable tracking in IDU, and I use that as the example, then people could use it in other games as well. We've been through the list a few times before, but your lighting and where it shadows and overhead, mirrors, mirrored surfaces, where your lighting is and how much shadow it casts on you can be good and bad depending on how bright the light can be as well. I don't think there's an actual guide for it, but your room wants to be well lit. As far as correct, but that's exactly it, Al. But even if you hit those several nights and then killed something completely different, as long as it within the timing of the combo, it is the kill that continues the combo. So that doesn't mean that hitting body shots is bad. It just means that, you know, you could loot. It's better than missing, but worse than not killing. That is a great way to put it. It's much better than missing. I'd much rather you hit a body shot and then immediately kill within like a second afterwards. but you don't want to be going for body shots. I even thought that there might be a way to manipulate the scoring system by those enemies that can take multiple body shots, hitting them multiple times before finishing them off with the headshot. But I think Jimbo worked out, or Elite Jonathan worked out through his scoring things, that it is better for you to kill them in one shot, even like a Black Knight with all that life. It's better for you to kill them in one headshot than it is 3 body shots. Even though it all looks good, because it also doesn't progress your combo as you're hitting those body shots either. I don't think we'll test that. I'm sure that's the case. So, what else do I know on tracking? 1.5 volt batteries, if you can get them. Rechargeable ones are what I use. I think everybody does. Otherwise, we'd have a fucking battery shortage on by now, if not just a fucking oil shortage. So 1.5 volt batteries, but as I said, they are difficult to come across rechargeable ones because that's what the controller is designed to work with. Again, I can't say which one of these is a major factor. I just do them all, and I seem to have good enough tracking to at least be able to hit 3 headshots together. So that'll do me. Mirrored surfaces, including computer screens. I find computer screens off are worse for tracking than computer screens on, because obviously a computer screen on has that mirrored surface. That was a good shot. I made a point of hitting something first before I hit it. Notice how that shot would normally be worth 10k, but because I was part of a combo, it's all the way up to 25. Well, I say all the way up, that's not that much. Damn it. That's the circle that we wanted at the back there, Carol, as well. That's where the big points are at. Waiting for a big group to come into that and then doing what I showed you with a Tempest and trying to be in combo when you do all of that. But again, it's all in the videos. I should sort all of that out because it's all there. And I wouldn't be surprised if you can't find them because I've got loads. Loads and loads and loads. So what else on tracking? Watch. If you wear a watch, because I haven't heard anybody, that's the shot, that was crap, but that's the kind of shot. Ambush, holy ground, long shot, it was also a gap shot as well. Is it long shot, gap shot, holy ground? If you move across a little bit, you can turn that into a double gap shot. Yeah, long shot, double gap shot, but I was too slow on the holy ground. Watch. If you wear a watch. So everybody must have had it. Everyone. I can't think of somebody who said, no, never had that. Where they're playing and their arm just drifts off. Now, normally, that is to do with mirrored surfaces around you or poor lighting or one of the other things. Recently, I found that my controller was doing that a lot when I was playing and practicing Siege of Heaven. Why was it doing it? Because I was wearing a fucking watch. And if you imagine, and it was not a regular watch either, it was a smartwatch. So whilst I'm not using it, it is the equivalent of a black computer screen or an off computer screen. A horribly mirrored surface, which then fucks with your tracking. As you can probably appreciate, I now no longer play IDU with my watch on. So, but I was glad that I was able to put those two together, or at least it was a big factor for me. Again, you know, tell me if you haven't had it, because I'd imagine you'll all be silent, but everyone must have had it where you're just playing and your arm just does that. And it keeps going further than you can as well. Brilliant. And I think, as I said, I think it's because of the mirroring, catching the camera of your watch on your wrist. So, right, that's enough about tracking. We're here for legend points. Right, I'm going to have a drink of smoke, and then we'll carry on with something else. Ah, bloody hell. It's another one of those streams where I must be really enjoying the sound of my own voice again. We're 2.5 hours in. Feels like 5 minutes. Hello, Fee. I think so. Take it off, see how you get on, report back in the comments or in the chat. But do you know what the big one was for me? When we were doing that Rogue Ascent stream. And this is where I noticed it first off, and then I remembered about it when I was playing IDU, or it might have been the other way around. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Well, thank you for turning up anyway, Fee. It's lovely. So, as far as the watch side of things concerned, I first noticed this a while back on IDU and then fucking completely forgot about it because I think I took off my watch and then changed watches. Again, something like, as Fee says, a Fitbit or like a smartwatch, I think is worse than a normal watch as well. But I'd imagine, wearing a small mirrored surface on something that it's trying to track is probably a contributing factor. But again, you don't think about these things, do you? But when I was playing Rogue Ascent is one of those games where... Will it allow me to do it? Don't know. No, it's not. Rogue Ascent... I have got the hand tracking on still. I never bother turning it off. But Rogue Ascent is one of those games where you can play it in just hand tracking. And when I was demonstrating that to you guys, my hand kept on doing this, or it wasn't coming up with the gun. And it was really annoying because it works so well off stream. And then when I was in stream, wasn't the reason being is because I put my fucking watch on. Or at least that's what I put it down to. And then so I stopped the game, took my watch off. I think you'll see this in the stream as well, and I probably complained about it. Took my watch off, and it worked fine. For the most part, anyway, as well as the hand tracking can. Why are we here again? So we've covered the big scoring shots. We've covered tracking. We've covered what a gap shot is. We've covered how to miss skeletons just then. We've covered... gap shots, multi-kills, distance we've talked about, time we've looked at. Try it. I think you'll be like me and go, huh, for fuck's sake, really? I'm never gonna get that, Cupid. So I don't think we need to be here anymore. So let's go and do a little bit of a roundup before we end it, because I think that's about all the knowledge that I have for you. So if anyone's got any questions that they're desperate to ask, because I'm running out of things to say. I'm never running out of things to say, but let's pretend I am. I'm running out of things to say about legend points anyway. So as another overview to the end of the stream, so all of the things that I've just shown you, headshots don't worry about too much. You need to be pretty good to be able to get a lot of headshots, but still attempt it. Just playing the game, just playing the map, you'll get headshots, or you should do, even if they're by accident, and that'll get you on a leaderboard. Combo we've talked about, score don't worry about too much. But, again, just playing through. This is the beauty with Siege of Heaven, is this is why I think this is where the vast majority of the points are, and this is probably, and part of the reason why I've saved it till last, for those of you who stuck around, this is probably the best way to get your points. You've probably played all the other modes and done a little bit on all of them. One single go on each map will qualify you for multiple leaderboards, and each of those leaderboards will all give you a little bit of legend points. So the person, I would say, the person that plays each map of Siege of Heaven and does middlingly would be better doing that and spending their time playing each map once than they would be maybe going and playing every single sigil through once, if you got similar scores. So, again, I can't guarantee that because we don't know how much sigil's going to score. Hell, we don't even know how much these modes score and how much exactly these score. And I can't tell you because it always adds up your entire score. What I have got now is on video, I've got my last season roundup, and then I do plan on not playing the game when the season changes over, and this isn't for posterity, this is because I want it A, recorded, and B, so it's it's fairly interesting to talk about. No, your score is not cumulative of your playthroughs. It's of your best. Each one of these is your best within a map. It's not added up. Otherwise, my scores would be insane. Is that what you said? Cumulative? Yeah, it's not. Like, for instance, the amount of headshots that you get that's in a single 15 wave attempt. So's this, so's this, so's this, so's this. these are not the amount of headshots that we have hit across our entire Siege career on the one map. So not cumulative, just so you know. But good question, though, because, again, I've been asked that before, and people wonder, like, because people look at those totals and go, how the fuck are you in the millions for your total? Oh, it must be cumulative. And from an outside, yeah, you'd probably think that. I used to think that. So, good question now. What else was I going to get at? So the score, right, so the total is cumulative of each of your top totals on each map. All right? Each of these leaderboards is your best score on each, or your best thing on. So, for instance, if I went to Chapter 2, Anakim's Advance, and went, I think I'm good on this one. I think I'm like second. Yeah, I'm just behind Loris. So if I went to Chapter 2, Anakim's Advance, that is my best time that I've got on Anakim's Advance. Whereas if I went to Nefarious Invasion... no, not Nefarious Invasion. My scores are garbage there. Let's go to a good one. If I went to Saints Approach and went to... I think I'm... Oh, no! Tracking! Ah, stream failed. Batteries went. Shit. Talk amongst yourselves. Back in a minute. Or has they failed? Why is it still doing the things? It's got a twitch in my fingers. Alright, give me a sec. Let's change batteries. Oh. Stream fail! I always change batteries before I come on. I completely forgot to this time, and I have been playing a fair bit of various things to catch various people on various leaderboards. So, but it shouldn't be long. That one can go in there. I'll just change the one over for now that's failing. Ha! Do you know why? No, no, easy to do, Al. Easy to do. I know why my one hand has gone. But I know why one hand has gone and the other one hasn't. And that's because I've been playing a bit of mini golf. Walkabout mini golf recently. And of course, that is a one controller game. So I usually put the other controller down. And I think it must power off or turn off or something. Come on, go in. There we go. Right. Back in the game now. Got my right hand now. Don't even need it anyway because we're not going to be doing much more. So, where did we get to there? So, I might cut that bit out. Who knows? I'll be quiet and then I'll forget to cut it out. So, combo. Look how he goes to the leaderboards that he's done quite well on. So, my combo in that map is completely different and separate score, but that is the best combo that I achieved in that map whilst I was playing it. And you can see that that's different to the best combo that I achieved in Paradise, in Lost Passage, and in Ruined Bastion, and so on and so on. So, anything else? Anybody else hungry for anything else knowledge-wise? I think I've given you everything that I can think of. So, to sum up, let's get back to Sanctuary and sum up. Probably going to say a load of stuff now that I probably should have led with. But I've got to keep your hooks in. Got to keep them hooks in. Right, let's turn that off quick. Just don't need that up. Oh, that's my left-handed run. That's a lot of fun, that is. Oof. Yeah, fun. So, Legend Point level. That bar, you'll see the number on the right-hand side is the number that you need to get to. Now, I should get the 5,000 points that I need to get to the next level so I can show you guys live. And I think it's probably only going to be me and Beanie and a couple of others that are going to get there so that I can show you guys all the cool stuff that we're going to get, hopefully. I mean, it's just a handful of shards, but I am liking the look of the purple one and the angelic one looks pretty cool as well. But this is why we're all doing it, because there's cool stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I fucking go nuts for skins. Hell, I would pay these guys money if I could buy skins. Not too much. I'm happy to support the dev, but for my favourite game that I play all the time, I'd like to buy things for it. I usually hate doing that in games, but I'd definitely do it for this one. So there's your level. That's the amount of experience points you are currently on. It is also represented by a bar. This is your total. You can hit that for some information about it, but it doesn't, unfortunately, go into much detail. The badges are your placements. Again, they don't really matter too much. I got some firsts in some tournaments, but you get firsts and seconds and thirds for your positions on the actual leaderboards as well. So I'm hoping to get this one up a lot. These ones, well, I'd like to be bothered about them, but I've run out of time. And then that's your tournament entries and how many seasons you've played in. So I've been in every season bar the first one. I thought I was in the first one, but never mind. So yeah, that's legend points for you. That's what to expect. What I am planning on doing, as I was alluding to a minute ago, is the stream for whatever day I'm going to be streaming, be it Wednesday or Saturday, after the update. So what will happen, for those of you who haven't experienced the season before, is you'll get an update for the game. If you want, and the reason why I'm prepping you is because you might want to record this, and if I prep enough people, more people might record it, keep hold of that footage, and I might be able to start working out some numbers, or we as a collective might be able to start working out some numbers. But after the update, the first time you hit one of your profiles and come into the game, you'll get some fucking awesome music, a lovely scoreboardy sort of thing, because they've really gone to town on it, and it's all la 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 sort of shit. It didn't do that much justice. You'll hear it. It was much better than my attempt. But yeah, all that kind of hallelujah style music. You get the board up, there's lights, flashes. I don't think there's any fireworks, but it's nice. It looks good. And I plan on having that come up during the stream. So I'm not going to play until the next stream comes along. So I'm going to put IDU down in a couple of days, not come back to it until the next stream, so that we can all watch my board and watch the numbers go up and do the thing and the stuff, and then look at the new modes and see if I can break them. And on that breaking bombshell, we will end it there. Thank you all very much for turning up tonight. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I have been Silver Tongue Devil. Good night.